You are welcome to CyberCapTalk, a podcast where African tech leaders talk freely. They talk directly, no scripts, no slides, no PR filters. I am Bamzi, and I am the founder and CEO of Cybercapec Limited. Every time I sit here, I sit with a CISO, a CTO, a CSO, or a senior security professional, and what we discuss are basically behind the scene happenings, real world happenings, beyond the textbooks to discuss how security looks like in the African ecosystem. And today, I'm very excited to have our distinguished guest. He happens to be the first guest on this program, and my relationship with him goes way back, and if my memory serves me right, about 6 years now, and it's been great all the way. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest. I'll still say much about him, just um, as we have our conversation. I'd like to introduce my guest. He's the CTO of 3Cs Aquarah, and he was also a colleague of mine at Cyber Limited, and his name is Mr. Gideon Aniechi. Olutwatobi. You're welcome.
Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
having me.
I mean, one of the things that excites me about you is how you were able to combine names from different tribes. Olutwatobi from Yoruba. I know Aniechi is surely Igbo,
Yeah.
and that sounds like Anambra
No, that's
Delta. Delta.
Yeah.
Wow, great. The Anambra Delta, they are just neighbors.
Okay.
All right, great. So please, can you just, for those who don't know you, beyond the program, who are you? What do you do? What do you want people to know about you?
Oh, wow, that's interesting. So, for the context of the show, first of all, thank you for having me. It's such a delight to
My
be here.
pleasure.
I do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. My name is Gideon Olutwatobi Aniechi, and I'm a cybersecurity professional. I've been in the industry for about almost 9 years now, and in the space of time, as of right now, I'm working with Tracy Aquarah as the Chief Technology Officer, and before then, I used to be the Assistant Vice President of Security Innovation and CISO at Ethnos Cyber Limited.
Oh,
And also last year, I was nominated as one of the cybersecurity personnel of the year from NITSTAR. And as
wow.
at right now, I'm the first Nigerian to have obtained the BTO2 security professional license. And being in the industry has been exciting. There's been there are a lot of things happening, and there's been a lot to do. And yeah, that's a summary of who I am.
It's elaborate. And your history is deep already, is robust, and of course, what I can say is also that you have a very rich wealth of experience. So, one of the things that has always been well, that may be controversial, but I always want to believe that a lot of people underestimate um, origin. So, I'd like to say that or ask you, because I believe that origin has a lot to do with what you end up being in life. So, because I'm curious, I knew you back then at Ethnos. You were younger than we were. You were, for me, you were like the youngest line manager that I knew. I mean, we had other line managers who were a bit older, but you were younger, you were more vibrant, and you were too dependable. Everybody just depended on you for everything. So, and one of the things I always think about is there must be something that drives this ideology. So, how was growing up like? How did you get into cybersecurity? what was did you see something? Did somebody whisper? I don't know. So let us into that. Give us a peep into that sphere. Let's know how you got into cybersecurity.
Okay. This is quite an interesting question. So, talking about origin. So first thing is while I was in school, while I was younger, you know, I've always had this there's this thing I used to say that by the time I'm 20, I would have maybe started a company and stuff
Wow.
like that. So I used to say that.
Wow.
And at those times there was nothing that make it look like any of those things were
What
going to happen.
happened?
See, I was just saying it by faith.
Also,
Just saying
Also.
it. How was it going to happen? I did not know. I constantly was just saying things.
but that faith was enough substance. Actually.
Yeah, that was a lot of substance. Because even as at that time when I was saying those things, I didn't know. So there was no cybersecurity in scope in any way. While I was much younger in secondary school, I was studying computer science. Yeah, I mean I was in science.
Yeah.
But I was the president of drama club. You understand? So all I wanted to do was I was doing drama, but I was doing science.
Wow.
So my passion had usually been around music, around theater, play, things like that. But because my mom used to say you'll be an engineer, so that was how I got myself into science. And so that I would not regret the decision because I didn't like the sciences actually.
Wow.
I prefer to be a filmmaker.
Wow.
So I said, okay, the easiest career path to choose would be, or the easiest course to choose in school would be computer science. At least that one is in between.
Yeah.
So I decided to do computer science. And while I was in computer science, it was still basic too. I didn't take it seriously because while I was in school, I started to make music. I had a studio. I was, in fact, at that time, my school radio producer. I was the producer of the school radio
station.
So, and I was still doing my engineering because I did computer engineering here. So, and I was doing well in the class anyway.
And I think I see now why you were really very dependable and versatile.
So yeah, I was doing those my production things, and I was shooting movies in school. The lecturers used to wonder how I was doing it. But yeah, there's a key criteria. I don't think this is the best platform to talk about that, but there's the criteria of the Holy Spirit. In the faith, because as at that time I have very good relationship with the Holy Spirit. I pray a lot. Coming from secondary school, I was not the brightest, but as I gave myself to fellowship with God, that's improved my intelligence. I think I became smarter. Yeah. This is real.
No. I think I can testify to that.
Yeah. I struggled to pass WAEC. Yeah. So from
I'll
someone
never
that
believe that if anyone told me.
from someone that struggled to pass WAEC to being the fourth best graduating student in the school,
Wow.
something happened.
I mean, you were our line manager, and I can, I can't remember very well again, but I know we were, in terms of number of years, we were years apart.
Yes.
We were older, and you can't struggle with it because this person was surely brighter than you, was more experienced than you. So even if you wanted to struggle and say, why would Gideon be giving me others? Well, Gideon is very brilliant, and he knows. So was there something along the line, maybe a project or something that drew you to cybersecurity?
Yes. So it was when I was done with school, and my vision after school was I was already a producer. I was producing and I was good. So my goal was I was going to just start music production. I didn't want to work. Yeah. So until my mom now said, "How much money are you going to make me a producer?" So she forced me to go and do internship with a company. In fact, this story is good because when I went for the internship, because I was versatile now, I knew computer very well. So my mom assumed that I was a genius in computer stuff.
Awesome.
Only for me to go to the company and they were asking me questions around cybersecurity. So I used to think that cybersecurity was the same thing as computer science.
Oh.
But they are far. So it's the asking me things around virtualization, network diagram. I'm waiting the all these things. I've never heard those things before. And so I failed the interview, long story short. And then they sent me back home. And I was so excited because I didn't want to do it anyways. So sending me back home is good for me. Until then I now got an offer that I was going to be interning without pay. And I said I don't want. But then my mom said, don't worry, just go and I will pay for it. So that was how I started interning with Ethnos Cyber at the time. It was like in 2017. And I was very favored to have had one of the best line managers then. His name is Engineer Chukune. Yeah. So Engineer Chukune was, like I said, I failed the interview.
Yeah.
So when I now came back, I was like, why are you back? So it was very tough on me. You just say, okay, go and do this thing. And he will not tell me how to do it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, but because I had to
There was no ChatGPT at that time.
for where. So can't do this thing.
Oh,
So I would just go
interesting.
and go and do it. Sometimes, a simple task would take me like 1 week
Wow.
to finish.
Wow.
So when I finish, I'm happy. I'll go and meet you. Oh, I'll finish this one.
Yeah.
You expect that he will be happy with me.
Oh.
It's okay. Go and do this next one.
He kept giving you
And just
putting you on your toes.
So it was the blessing was that he wasn't telling me how to do the things. It was
You had
just
to
telling
figure
me
out
what to do. So figuring out what to do exposed me to more things. So I had to read several materials, both the ones that were relevant and the ones that were not.
Oh wow.
So that way, the understanding of the different domains started to build. And eventually I was able to implement it. So the first task that I did actually was to implement an Active Directory.
Awesome.
Set up virtual machines, set up computers, connect all of them together, be a domain controller. And those were the tasks he was giving me. And those were the tasks that I actually did on my own.
Wow.
Without any help. So that foundation was one
Made
of
you
the
know you were in the right place. You were in the right place.
was just solid.
Awesome.
Because it was now raw experience and I could own it. I could talk about it anywhere because I did it myself.
Absolutely.
And that's how every other thing, we're just building on top of that.
So I like that. I like that. This is fresh and good. Thank you very much. So now, I know you are now a leader. You have graduated from being someone that will be put on their toes. You now put other people on their toes. So how is being a leader in the security industry, how is it now? What does it look like? How is it? What are your day-to-day? And this is beyond textbooks. What do you do? What do you actually do as a security leader? What does it look like?
Wow. So 2 things. Coming from the fact that I've also had great leaders.
And I'm asking this question because now you don't have to just now manage implementations or manage security tools or manage security structures or infrastructures. You now also have to manage people. Your interns, the senior engineers, the intermediate engineers. You also have to even manage a more diverse team. Maybe you have even developers.
Yes.
So what's it like?
Yeah, so like I was saying, the privilege to have had great leaders, is rubbing off on what I'm doing now. Being under a leader such as Goodness Opani, and
Great goodness of partly.
being under leaders such as Peter Ejiofor,
Also,
right?
we're
And
Mr. P.
yeah, Chukune, like I said, right?
Also,
So these were, I think, these people I just mentioned are the best in the industry. Yeah, you can't take it away from them. So being under them, working with them, especially goodness, because it was my direct line manager, and I would say that experiencing him was enough leadership tutorial for life. Yeah, because a lot of times now I just remember, oh, okay, if goodness was to do this thing, how would he do it? And then I say, okay, this is what he would have done. Then I would do it. You see, but then to now be more practical, because now you do not do implementations. What I do basically is now oversee the project. So from where I stand, I can see the end to end of a project. So, okay, this is where we are now. This is where we want to go to. And because I've been in those places or those phases at different times, or I have an understanding of it, so I can tell how we're going to get to that destination. So, what are the requirements? What are the resources we will need? How do I guide this, my team members together? So, these are some of the things that I now do. And also because I've also been I've had the opportunity to be in boardrooms, being management meetings and all of that, and I've seen what happens there. I can also now use that knowledge to guide my team members to be more innovative. In fact, innovation is part of the key things I do today now. Inspiring my team members, letting them know that the Bible says that he that is diligent in his work will stand before King of honor. So as much as I, guide them in cybersecurity, I always guide them in the scriptures because I feel like these are the core things. These are when you take your job diligent. Jesus was telling his guys, and he told them that whenever you're doing a job for someone, you have to do it like you were doing it for the Lord. And I tell them, I said, that's how you should treat these things. Treat yourself like a brand. So you do the job as diligent as you would have done it if it was your company. You see, and then
you take ownership.
Complete ownership. Because
You hold yourself accountable.
you are definitely going to outlive that
Absolutely.
that place or that role. But what you are never going to outlive is you and the experience you gain, the stories you build in that time.
That lives with you
So just
forever.
do the best of all that you could.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, I mean, several things that I'm hearing already from your conversation. And what you just said now took my mind back to our days together at Ethnos. And I remember we used to close at 5. And one thing I noticed about you was that you knew there would be solution and there must be solution. Now, because one of my very common saying is that as tech professionals, more specifically cybersecurity engineers, we do not always have the answers at our fingertips.
Yeah.
But the most important skill that anyone needs to develop is to understand what the problem is first of all, where to get the answers, and what the answer looks like when you even see the answer.
Yeah.
So, and I saw that in you very well. In fact, I think I learned it from you back then at Ethnos. Because 6 p.m., you are still at the office. I'm already grumbling, but because I know I can't leave because you are still around. And of course, Mr. Goodness is still on ground. We cannot leave, So what was the drive? I don't know how you got to that point. And I'm asking this because emerging security professionals need to understand that a lot of times you need to go beyond the books.
Yeah.
You need to go beyond instructions to find answers or to find solutions to issues.
Yeah.
Because there will always be problems that do not align with your textbooks,
Yes.
with theory. Whatever videos you have watched online, whatever even ChatGPT has given to you, there will always be issues. So please, can you enlighten us more? What was responsible? Because I know, I want to believe, I'm 100% sure that contributed to your growth at the level that you have attained in the industry till today.
Okay. Thank you for that question. I think the most practical answer is leadership. Um, and I would at this point mention something that my boss Peter Ejiofor would usually say. He said you have to get to a point where the work is now your play. You see, now, so there's this common saying where you say work-life balance.
Yeah.
So you have work and then you have life, and then you're trying to balance them. The point has to come to, you have to get to that point where the life and the work are like the same thing. So you can't, like, for example, how do I relax? Some people ask me and say, "Okay, how do you relax?" And I tell them I relax by producing music
Awesome.
because I love it. Producing music is work. It taxes my brain, but that's actually how I relax. You see, and beyond that, so you have to get to that point where your work is exciting to you. You're happy to do it.
Yeah.
It's just
There's
solving the problem.
genuine love for you or for what you do.
Genuine love for what you do.
Awesome.
And as you're doing that, you're not seeing anything as big deal. You're going all out, and you would attest to the fact that while we were working together, there were several things that we did that were unconventional.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like the normal day-to-day staff of an organization will not do those
Never.
things.
Never.
But we'll go beyond the script,
Beyond,
beyond the job title. At several points, we were different roles, both
Absolutely.
mechanical roles, electrical roles. So, because you just love the job, you want to get the answer. You see, so you just everything that you have to give, you have to give it. Every knowledge that you require, whatever you need to read, and especially when it comes to solving problems, because that was a question you asked. Solving problems. So first is, when there's when maybe there's a situation or something you need to do, that there's a guide. So the OEMs definitely have materials. So first thing is, okay, this thing must be somewhere. Someone must have experienced this problem, and you should be able to answer it. And something else which is very, very key is foundation. Very key. Like, you have to understand it, especially in cybersecurity. You see that thing where we call the OSI model. Those 7 layers. Having an in-depth understanding of those layers can save you a great deal, because whenever there's a problem in any component, call it database, call it systems, OS, whatsoever it is, in any layer, if you trace it, you will see the problem in the OSI model.
Awesome.
So if you have an understanding,
Back to basics.
a perfect understanding of the OSI model, you can use that to be able to drill down. So now that is how to identify where. So once you've seen the problem, you can drill it to where it is in the OSI model. Then you know what materials or where to go to get the answer. So all of this are happening in a split second here, because you have
Developed
you
enough
have
body of
developed enough
knowledge.
body of knowledge. Yeah. So your knowledge base is large, and immediately you can just, okay, this thing is under network. Okay, can we test this network? Can we diagnose this? Can we check this? Because you have built that knowledge base. Until you have done that, you will still be asking ChatGPT for answers.
Thank you very much. I was okay. So there's something I wrote, and I like to just. I mean, it was something I came up with at one of my speaking engagements, and I wrote it down in my notepad. I said most Nigerian organizations think they have a cybersecurity program. What they actually have is a compliance exercise. There is a difference, and today we are. I mean,
That's the point where you clock it.
So I really just want you to touch on that, because I have engaged with several organizations. Some come to say, come and help us set up our security team. And by the time you begin to now elaborate on what needs to be done and what needs to be put in place, there seems to be a bit of a laid back, So my question basically is, what does it even entail to set up a security team? And I'm saying this with the foreknowledge that we have a lot of startups. They don't have all the budgets in the world. They don't have all the manpower in the world to have every skill set that needs to be present in a security team. But what are the must have skill sets in a security team? Because I, for one, know a few organizations, at least 2 or 3 currently as I speak now. Well, of course, I won't mention names, who just have network engineers. And of course, the network engineers are just even people who can only probably connect a router, configure a router, configure a switch, or maybe create VLANs and all of that. And they feel that is enough, So, in your opinion, as someone who has traveled, because I know you're also well traveled, you've been outside and within the country. So, what do you think for the Nigerian ecosystem, taking into account that we don't have all the budgets? You cannot compare a Nigerian tier 1 bank to companies like Inspire Financial, Bank of America, and all of those big banks, where their cybersecurity team is deep. I mean, I can mention, because I have a few experience with some of these companies, and I know the setup of their cybersecurity team. It is deep and detailed and very, very professional. Where if you are just handling identity and access management, that is the only thing you are handling as a security engineer. You are not handling the whole network security, no. So what do you think, in your opinion, sir?
Well, this is a very broad question. In fact, I would say that you have asked like 10 questions.
Absolutely. Sorry, I muddled everything up.
So first thing is setting up a good security team starts with the leader. Yeah. A management that appreciates security, that's where it starts from. Because even if you build up a team at the end of the day and the management does not appreciate security, then that security team is not useful or will not be useful.
So you are saying always the backing of
Yeah,
management
it starts with management.
is sacrosanct.
Very important. I've had a situation where an organization was supposed to buy a tool, and the tool is essential, so important for their work, and they took the budget to management, and management say, "Ah, we can't afford this thing. If you want us to buy this, how many of your staff do you want to sack?" So I be like, what? Rather than bringing money to sponsor an essential need, you had rather let some staff go. What is in the mind of that management staff?
Wow.
So security, first of all, starts with management.
So security, for a lot of what you are saying now, and what I can deduce, is that security for some organizations are trade-offs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Compliance, like you also said. I like what you, and that's why I said clock it, because a lot of institutions, they are only mindful of security because of compliance.
Yeah.
And that's something that it's concerning, because we have to ensure that security is not about compliance.
No.
My boss goodness will usually say that beyond the compliance, what is your security like? You see, if there's no auditor standing with you, now, if just if it's an hacker that is standing with you, can you survive? Now, the answer is plain. If you check the news in the past few days, in the past 1 week, 3 tier 1 banks, three or even more, that has been seriously hacked.
No, that's absolutely correct.
And so now, my first question is: did you pass your last ISO 27001, ISO 22301? Did you pass your last PCI DSS audit? If you passed, okay, why do you have these holes in your system that could be exploited to this extent?
Oh.
These are typical questions. So the first thing is management. The moment you have a management, a leader who understands security, who is passionate about security, who is not driven by compliance, that's the first most important team member that you require to be the security team. Yes, because there are several organizations right now that can provide the security as a service. So there's CISO as a service, there's MSSP, there's MSP. There are different, organizations that exist right now that you could outsource your security to, and it will be legit 100. You see, but if the management person do not prioritize security, sees it as just one thing on the shelf, then that's where your problem starts from. So no matter what thing you set up, they will not still be able to do anything essential.
So, from what you have just said now, what I hear loud and clear is until we have a management team that sees security as a necessity,
Yes,
as a need to,
yes,
a must have,
he must have, not a compliance check.
not a compliance check,
Yes.
where only every quarter of the, each quarter of the year is when we are running up and down for audit, everything. So, that's really great. And we really must move away from that habit or that mindset of just focusing on compliance. I strongly agree with you 100%. And the reason is also because attack surfaces keeps increasing every day.
Yes.
Now we have AI. A lot of companies use AI for even their official task.
100.
I know several, in fact, I know a financial institution
Yeah.
that their staffs will just upload bank statements, upload different things, and they will say, analyze this. Of course, that's because they do not really understand that even the AI chatbot that you chat with is an attack surface. It just extends your attack surface, attack area. And so security is very key, very, very key. I know our ecosystem has had a lot to do with public panic control. So they always suppress a lot of issues, vulnerabilities that people exploit in the financial industry, in the telcos and all of that. So they don't always allow those things come out. But these things happen. And it's time that we begin to take our security very important. So I'd like to just ask, we're almost getting to the end of the listing, but just a few thoughts, sir. How do you see the threat landscape in the African ecosystem? In the next 3 years, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, we never knew that we would have such a thing as AI security. There are now AI vulnerabilities. There are issues with the AI systems. A lot of people don't even know what makes up an AI system. So because you don't even know what makes an AI system, you can't secure it adequately. Because what you don't know, you can't secure.
100.
If you get me to come and be the security man of your compound or in one of your properties, one of the first things I need to do is do feasibility study. Understand every corner, every nooks, understand where the gate is, understand even how your routines are. when you go out for work, when you come back, and do a good study. And with that knowledge, I can adequately provide security. So, what do you think the threat landscape will look like in 3 years? As a leader in the industry, you have been playing in this ecosystem for a while now. What do you think it will look like in the next 3, 4, 5 years?
Okay. So as of right now, looking at Nigeria,
Absolutely.
early this year, so we worked on the report, and the analysis. Nigeria is still sitting at the number 33 most breached country in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and in Africa, the number 4 in Africa.
Wow.
Now, the year on, we've been having the vulnerabilities increasing, the threats are increasing. In fact, there's a report that my team had just recently launched called Zero Day Africa, where we pointed like a spotlight on every threat that has been, all the threats across Africa. And if you look across Africa, you would see a lot. Go to Namibia, go to Uganda, Algeria, South Africa, Kenya. The landscape is large. Extreme exploits, extreme exploits. In this first quarter of the year, that is from January to March, we saw several governmental institutions were attacked seriously, across different places. I wouldn't quote them now because of time.
Absolutely.
But then, looking at the years to come, the attack surface will keep increasing.
Yeah.
In fact, as of today, there are now more startups. There are now more companies who are, building solutions, building applications that they want people to start to use on their mobile phones, on their desktop. Now, what is the security of those systems that are being launched out? Okay. Another thing is government. How is government prioritizing these things? In Nigeria, there's a lot happening. Presently in Nigeria, we have the NDPA. Yes, several other African countries do not at this moment have a data protection systems or regulations. Several countries are starting to adopt. I know in South Africa, even there was a law firm that got a court verdict to pay some amount of fine because they didn't do some level of protection. So some government organizations are starting to take cybersecurity very serious. The government of Algeria also gave a strong backing towards cybersecurity and innovation. Namibia is also moving so fast with that. Now, Nigeria is still the leading economy in Africa. Now, in Nigeria, do we even have a budget in our annual budget for cybersecurity, or it is targeted as security? So all of these things are things we have to start to look at effectively. By 2030, it was estimated that the cybersecurity risk in Africa is going to be about 46.2 billion.
Wow.
So these things are the threats, $1 billion, yes. The landscape is increasing astronomically. You are seeing a situation where a money point, is making as much money that is more than the GDP of a country in a month. So these things are large threat landscape that we are now facing every day. What is most important is that cybersecurity has to be not just a word, a fancy title. It has to be ingrained in the mind of people. And I love the fact that in the tertiary institutions now, there's now cybersecurity as a course. People are taking cybersecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But beyond that, all of us have been to every Nigerian school, and you know what it's like to do a course in school. It's not practical. It's not. There are several things that you do not essentially learn in those environment. So now we have to go back to teaching cybersecurity, not just as a title, but as a key domain for national security. Government has to start seeing it as important, very important, and prioritizing it, investing in it. Management of different organizations have to also start seeing it as extremely important, prioritizing it and financing it. The cybersecurity guys in Nigeria or in Africa are the least paid in the world.
Ooh.
Yes,
Yes.
they are the least paid in the world. So you see a lot of the best minds are relocating every single day. Some that are not relocating are working remotely from here.
Yeah.
And the moment you start to work in an institution, they pay you, you just move the next thing. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that has created a lot of inconsistency.
So if you
So many things.
awesome. I think I like. So what I hear now is that there are some things you are not even happy about with the cybersecurity industry in Nigeria. So I like to ask, if you would change one thing overnight about the cybersecurity in Nigeria, what would that be?
Well, that's a large task.
I mean, if you had the power to change something.
If I had the power, first thing is I would
Just one thing.
just one thing.
Just one thing.
I would bring in the mind of the highest leader the importance of cybersecurity.
So you feel like in a constitution, it should be.
You know, send cybersecurity. I'm missing the Nigerian Cybersecurity Act.
Yes, absolutely.
If you have read that document, you will see that even the fines for cyber breaches.
Very mega.
I'd be like, what is this? Somebody can decide, you know what, let me just do this crime because what is the fine? 500 naira. What is there? Like, there's nothing there. You see, so anybody can just clear around with it.
Absolutely.
So if I was to do one thing, like you said,
Yeah.
ingrain in the mind of the top management, the highest, the president, the importance of cybersecurity. All of a sudden, the president will just wake up tomorrow morning and say, you know what, we're allocating this budget to cybersecurity and raise one senior cybersecurity leader that would then make some policies that every organization, every
adhere to, must comply with. Absolutely. Thank you very much. So there's a segment of this podcast that we call Rapid Fire.
Okay.
And Rapid Fire is just a session where we ask you to pick. Just pick from two options. There is not something or well, a bit controversial too.
Yeah, sure.
So sometimes you don't have to pick. Sometimes we can ask you a control. And for me, what has always been heavy on my mind is that what is the most overrated certification in cybersecurity? What is most overrated?
Overrated.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Do you think certifications are actually overrated?
If you ask me honestly, I would say it's in between. Yeah. Skills is most important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would make reference to, there was a time, I think last year, where Elon Musk wanted to, hire a few people for X. And in the job description, those requirements, something, he said, you don't even have to have a college degree. If you know you can solve this problem, he put the problem. If you can solve this problem, just solve it and send it here. So that is the richest man in the world. Like, contest it, you can't. And he does not really care about those things. And so what I would say is that what really matters is, are you able to solve the problem? But yeah, for contests, so when you are now in and you can solve the problem, you can now go and do those certificates, because yes, those certificates are also expensive. All of them are priced in dollars, and you know how much dollars is. So the typical Nigerian guy no go, you will not even how much have you saved that you want to go and be doing some expensive certifications, So, but important in skills. Once you have these skills, you can solve the problem and profile solution.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important.
Okay. Thank you very much. I mean, this has been a very, very wonderful first episode. I love the energy. I love the conversations. I love the tips you have provided in today's security talk show. And I mean, we can only say thank you very much for gracing our first episode. It's been wonderful, and all the insights you have shared, I'm sure viewers would be grateful that you shared these things, because these are not things that you get from people. I mean, even this is like a mentorship session that we should have paid for. But we're getting it for free on a platter. We are very grateful. I mean, this is very, very nice. So again, we have come to the end of the program. This is CyberCapTalk, and the first episode has been a wonderful time. We'll meet in 2 weeks' time for another very impactful episode where we would have another senior professional in the industry speak to us in an unscripted way. No slides, no, just direct, raw conversations of what happens behind closed doors, And one question that I will still ask you, maybe in another episode when you come back, because I'm sure you'll come back, is that I need you to really talk about some of the threats that are just peculiar to the African ecosystem. Because I believe that we deal with some threats and vulnerabilities that are beyond the textbooks. You hear things like the SQL injection, cross-site scripting attack, server-side request forgery, and the likes. But I can tell you, I want you to shed more light into some very peculiar and custom vulnerability for Africans, made by Africans. So those are some of the things that's old. But today, it's been wonderful. Thank you very much. And please, once again, let's say a big thank you to Mr. Gideon Aniechi. Please follow him on LinkedIn. You can follow him on Twitter. You can follow him on all his social media handles. He is the Chief Technology Officer at 3Cs Aquarah, and here in Lagos. And we are grateful that he's with us today. And we just say, God bless you, sir. And may God keep increasing your the works of your hand. Cheers, boss. Thank you very
so
much. Yeah, this session was sponsored and supported by CyberCapec, and we will keep you posted. Thank you very much. See you in 2 weeks' time.
All right, cheers, everyone.
Hey, boss. Thank you very much.